Hey guys, welcome to Hotty Toddy Chat, brought to you by HottyToddy.com. My name is Jack Couch,
This is Adam Brown, the sports editor at HottyToddy.com.
and we're here to talk a little bit about Ole Miss sports today.
Over the weekend, Ole Miss went to play in the Big 12 SEC Challenge against Oklahoma State. The Rebels came away with the losing to the Cowboys, but the Rebels were without Matthew Morrell and Sean Ruffin for the game.
Yeah, two of our studs were out, and I mean, it was a tough game to get going. And it's hard to go into a different stadium and expect to perform at your highest level with two of our studs out again.
I mean, for that, going off of what you were saying, it is. But you have to have a situation to where when you go on the road, you take that same mentality that you play with at home on the road. But it's just difficult for them to build momentum throughout the game.
Yeah, and I get that. And that's the hard part about basketball is that once you're down and you got to take those deep shots and you got to continue to build it, just felt like we got behind early and we didn't have that mentality going into the stadium. And that's why I was watching the game. I was like, oh, yeah, they're gonna crush them. You know, we're going to go in there. We're going to waffle stomp. We got a chip on our shoulder now. This is the time we turn it around. We need to go in here and prove that we're here, and we're going to be a tough team to beat. And we're making a push for playoffs, and it just didn't seem like we were having that option going on.
Right, and then you get into foul trouble throughout the game. You lose players, and yeah.
Yeah, basketball is just one of those sports that get down and you'll be in trouble. But we're, And good thing about this weekend is that we have A.J. Brown going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And that's going to be awesome. Definitely need to hammer that over on reception yards this time around.
It's one of those situations to where, like, went into it thinking, okay, out of the four teams that are going in the championship to play for the Super Bowl, championship round, you had four different players that could play for the Super Bowl from Ole Miss.
Yeah, and that just shows you the testament that how good our players are doing outside of school. They get into the NFL and they're starting to become studs. And even though Matt Corral was hurt this year, I think that he has a good shot next year. And I think A.J. Brown, now that he has weapons around him and he's not the one guy on the Tennessee Titans, as much as I love Tennessee Titans, they just crushed him all the time. So now that he has all these weapons around and he's getting deep balls and he's a true wide receiver one, he's crushing.
I mean, and he has Jalen Hurts throwing it to him, and you have Devontae Smith outside too with you. So it's just a good punch for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep, and that's just SEC play and the higher level going into the NFL. And you got to imagine that home field advantage was crushing. With Brock Purdy getting hurt, that's just tough.
I mean, it's one of those situations to where the 49ers just could not move the ball. I mean, Brock Purdy gets hurt, then you lose the backup quarterback to that. To where if they had to have passed, if they had to have thrown the ball, it would have been a situation to where you would have had to have Christian McCaffrey come in and throw the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
But he tried.
He tried one play, and he launched it downfield, and I was like, oh, somebody's got to be open. He's going all the way down there, and then it just hit the ground. I was like, oh, man, I thought it was a deep ball.
Yeah.
And running the ball, that game was crushing. I mean, it was terrible having Brock Purdy go down and then Johnson go down, I believe, right? Yeah, mm-hmm. Johnson. And then
pretty much on the same type of play.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just, you get hit, and the people up top try to get you a concussion. They're doing their job. There's nothing you can do about that. But the depth there just is killing. And now you have the question of going into next year, is Purdy the guy? And then you have, Jimmy G still there, and you have a lot of people still at the 49ers that are going to, be impact players. And it depends on where you think that those quarterbacks are going to be.
When you look at that, though, you would think for the 49ers, you would stick with Purdy because he went 7-0 through that time before going into this weekend's game.
Yeah.
But just 7-0 awards you a permanent start next year or do they actually say, okay, we're gonna build on Purdy and get rid of Jimmy G and the rest of them?
Yeah. And Trey Lance is right there too, and he got hurt very early, I believe in week 3, and he went down with I believe a concussion. But he went in there. He was 3-3 through week. They were 3-3 through week 6. They got Christian McCaffrey and they were 12-0 past. And it just, do you wonder if there was that running back range of, oh yeah, now that the guy have a running back, now they have weapons on the field, they're able to be a little bit more shifty around the pocket, or do you think it's Brock Purdy coming in and being just a dominant football player like he was now that you see at Ohio State? Like, I personally didn't pay attention to Brock Purdy until he got onto the field, as most people did. And all I knew was he was Mr. Irrelevant for forever. But him going onto the field and being able to be shifty and make plays and seeing what's going on with that, it was very interesting to see. It's terrible that he got hurt in the way he did. And that it was his elbow and he wasn't able to throw. And I don't know if he went on the sideline and tried to have a cortisone shot or some steroid shots, legal steroid shots, I should say. But he killed it. I mean, yeah, you have to run the ball up the middle. And it was just really a tough game to watch.
I mean, if he took a total shot to help his arm, that would be wonderful. But, it looked like when he was holding on to the ball, trying to even just do a simple handoff, that was one of those situations to where it hurt just to make that motion. So to hold on to it and throw the ball down the field, it's going to be hard to do.
Yeah, and it really reminded me, looking at his elbow, it looked like he was Tommy John, just completely stretched it out. You watch his hand go back, and his elbow, it's like a spring. It goes back and hits the ball before his hand even comes through. And it made me wonder if he just stretched it out and not having it tight in your socket anymore to hand it off. And it looks like he's going to have to go to Tommy John surgery after that. Mm. And that's just for baseball even, it's terrible. Right. And it's really just one of those injuries that you can come back from. It's just a long way back. Mm-hmm. And it's figuring out, my throwing style is now going to have to change because I have less mobility or I have more mobility. And that's the risk that you have going through that.
Going off of football for a second, the Ole Miss baseball team returned to practice to return to the diamond in less than 3 weeks now, as they welcome in Delaware to start the season, the 2023 season on February 17th.
I know. I'm very excited, and you can feel it around campus. Everybody's getting pumped up for this. I actually just got the big dog pile frame. I went down to Rebel Rags the other day and bought one, and it was awesome. Just you had it all the way across, and everybody's getting pumped up. I got all my swag on, and that's just how it is. Everybody's getting ready for the season. And I know the students are getting ready to line up and wait for their spots in the back. That's one of those traditions that is going to be time-honored. And me, lucky enough, I got to go wait outside for 24 hours to go save my spot for a national championship seat. At the time, I was like, oh, man, 24 hours is a lot of time. But, you win a national championship, and I think that those numbers are going to double. And even the construction going on over there, you're going to have construction over in right field. Last year, there was a little scaffolding for donors to be up in the box, essentially, is what they called it. And this year is going to be more of a professional kind of area, is what I've been told.
Yeah, it looks really nice. When we were up in the Diamond Club on Friday for the press conference, you get to see it being put together to where the tent's not there anymore. It's just rows of chairs.
That's
like
awesome.
Built-in chairs, so it's going to be really nice. But you look behind the batter's eye, and you don't have any more trees there anymore.
Yeah, and that's also a problem, is that view's a little obstructed, because I know they're doing the parade field. They're taking it down and building into turf. I think it's 100 yards, so they're expanding that for sure. And it was nice to have that tree and that scenery behind. And we still have one of the best baseball stadiums in the world. I mean, that's just how it is. It is a beautiful stadium. Cute. I mean, we're number 2 in the SEC for spots in the stadium. only behind what's Mississippi
LSU
State?
and State, isn't it?
Yeah, State. Yeah, State's that's an awesome stadium as well. But I'm excited for it to get all together. We have a lot of good people returning. I mean, I'm very excited about it.
I mean, yeah, our returners, we're returning 50% of the pitching that pitched in the College World Series last year, and 53% of the at bats.
Yeah, that seems about right. I was about to say, the one spot I'm really looking forward to see is the first base. And I just don't know who's going to be starting after that, after Tim Elcom. That's a hard act to follow.
It could be anybody. It could be a freshman or a junior college player.
Yep, exactly. And then we have DeLucia, I know was the one thing, but Hunter Elliott, having him back is going to be very nice for this team to have a solid pitcher. And I assume that he's going to pitch Friday or Saturday most weeks.
And move him into a Friday night role.
Yep, exactly. And he never really had that until playoff scenarios. And now that we're going to have we had a Diamond last year, who's our Saturday night, Sunday night kind of role. And he was struggling in the regular season. And in the postseason, he also caught wind. So I'm excited to see if we could put something together at the beginning of the season. Because that's been one of our tough spots, is once we hit SEC play for the past 2 years, we've been having a lot of trouble with that.
Right. I mean, the thing about that is you look at, we're playing a bunch of Big Ten teams in the preseason, before we hit the SEC stretch, which I think it's going to be a good thing for us because we'll face tougher competition before we step into conference play, because we'll play Maryland 4 times in a row before we even.
Yeah, and I think that us having that strength of schedule this year, and I believe Southern Miss is on that as well, and just having them come back and us go down and being able to have a strong strength of schedule going into SEC play is going to be all that matters to us. Because I was looking at LSU, number one team LSU. Number one team LSU was their schedule doesn't look half as strong as ours does before SEC play. I think that's just going to be all the world to us. You know, everybody wants to play the national championship.
Right.
So that's a good thing that we have right now and on our side, and our strength of schedule is going to be pretty good going into it. I'm very excited.
I think the strength of schedule will help us, and the fact of that we've sold so many season tickets that for the past couple of years we've been in the top 10, top 5 of fan attendance in the nation.
And this year, that opening weekend, I'm going to be out there an hour early, 2 hours early to even get a seat. Because, student tickets, I got to get out there and make sure I get my spot. And I'm brushing my chair, and that's all going to be fun. But, it's going to be packed. And I'm excited to see how many students are going to show up. Like, there might be people just sitting on the side of the hill this year for that first opening weekend. And it's going to be crazy. I'm very excited. And the thing is, national champion, I think that we have outsold our season sales ever. And I'm excited, and it's still going. we're going to sell season tickets standing room in a second.
We really are, because on Friday we were told that they've already sold over 8,500 tickets. And, that it's just amazing thinking that we're over 3 weeks away.
Yeah, and we have 3 weeks till it's starting, and the hype is all around this team. As much as I love basketball and how good our women's basketball team is doing, and they're doing great, but the hype around baseball is unreal. And I guess this is what it's like having a national championship under your belt and people coming in, but I'm very excited for this to start happening.
Well, Coach Yo opened Part 3 last night with a 76-73 win on the road at Arkansas in overtime. And they came back at one point from an 8-point deficit in the first quarter behind the play of Madison Scott.
Yeah, they've been
Angel Baker on top of that.
They've been having a heck of a season. And that's just, it's amazing to see what they're doing with this program and how this is her second year, correct? Or is this her
5th?
Oh, it is. Okay. Well, she's been really turning this program. It's been very entertaining to watch. And just seeing all that and through COVID and just how this team is skyrocketing up into those rankings.
I mean, you take where they were last year, you had them go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in 17 years, and then now you're sitting on the doorsteps of possibly a Sweet 16 run or higher.
Exactly. Hopefully higher.
Yeah.
And you know that even if we can get that in Oxford, Mississippi, that would be amazing. I mean, that's what's really going to drive fans there is that if you get a Sweet 16 run, you're going to start building that fan base. Mm-hmm. And that's something that we're seeing this year is there's fans going to both basketball games. And we've been having trouble in the past years getting people into the stadium with the new pavilion and COVID. But I think this is the real return. She's making a push, and I'm watching people like all over campus going, hey, the women's basketball game is about to be on. We got to go. Like,
right.
Let's get out of here. We got to go make sure we get there because they're starting to fill up some spots.
I mean,
it's been very impressive.